What we measure matters. The data we use shapes the stories we tell as a society and the decisions we make about what to prioritize and how to deploy resources. Many of the problems we face as a world are a result of measuring the wrong things and focusing on the wrong numbers. The financial crash of 2008, for instance, I believe, was a direct result of focusing too much on GDP as the sole metric of how well our economy was performing. I also think the failure to reform properly after that crash was due to focusing too much on getting GDP to grow again rather than looking at the fundamentals of an economy that was clearly fragile, as the crash had revealed. This was why I and an amazing group of social entrepreneurs, thinkers, and philanthropists created the Social Progress Index about a decade ago to give people in leadership roles a better understanding of how their society was performing so that they could actually distribute resources and prioritize policies that would actually deliver the kind of better world that all citizens want. And it's why we're now making available a localized social progress index in America that allows leaders at a state and local level to have the same tools to focus on giving what their people really need. So that through this crisis of the pandemic, we have an opportunity to build back equitably, inclusively, and sustainably, and we'll have the tools at a local level to deliver that. Our cities are facing unprecedented challenges. They're home to the world's largest COVID-19 outbreaks. Our local economies have stalled. The digital infrastructure in many places is challenged, and public resources are clearly stretched to capacity. And while the pandemic has both highlighted and exacerbated the deep inequalities and fault lines in our society, there is this need to align government, business, and civil society with the right metrics for success. At a national level, America's social progress has actually been going backwards over the past decade. As Nick Kristof wrote in the New York Times, for all its economic strength, America ranks only 28th in the world on social progress. And it's one of only 3 countries in the world to have seen social progress go backwards in the past decade, the other 2 countries being Brazil and Hungary. No wonder the nation has never felt more vulnerable and is asking, where do we go from here? The new US Social Progress Index directly measures social well-being at a local level with an overview of the 50 states and goes all the way down to 28,000 census tracts in the nation's 500 largest cities. With millions of data points, we use social and environmental data to deliver powerful insights on the success and vulnerabilities of communities across the country. The index highlights what's working and what isn't, and where, and can serve as a critical tool for an inclusive recovery. This new index will launch later this year, but today I'm going to give you a sneak preview of some of the results. Let me just explain the basic Social Progress Index structure, which applies everywhere in the world that we use it. There are 3 main dimensions. Basic human needs, where we ask critical questions such as, do people have enough food to eat? And are they receiving basic medical care? Can people drink water and keep themselves clean without getting sick? Do people have adequate housing with basic utilities? Are people safe? The second pillar is foundations of well-being, where we ask, do people have access to an educational foundation? Can they freely access ideas and information from anywhere in the world? Do they live long and healthy lives? Is this society using its resources so they'll be available for future generations? And the third pillar is opportunity, where we ask, are individuals' personal rights protected? Are people free to make their own life choices? Is anyone excluded from the opportunity to be a contributing member of society? Do people have access to the world's most advanced knowledge? We aggregate all those numbers together to get the Social Progress Index score. Each component of the framework has multiple indicators. which are data points which help us answer those critical questions about societal well-being. We draw our data from a variety of sources, including ACS, FBI, and we have some completely original data. In particular, for the environmental quality, our data analysts used NASA satellite technology to get a true estimate of carbon emissions. Early indicators suggest that these emissions are in many cases higher for cities around America than had previously been reported. So watch this space. When looking at all 50 states, we found that the richest US states do a remarkably poor job of converting their resources into social progress. None of the 5 largest state economies in the United States are in the top 10 states on social progress. And 3 of these 5 don't even crack the top 30: California, Florida, and Texas. You can see here the disparity between the largest cities in Texas. When mapped, all 500 cities in terms of social progress scores and median household income, we were able to get an interesting picture of the correlation between social progress and wealth. For the most part, it falls as expected, with poorer cities performing the worst while the richer cities perform the best. However, as we can see from the cities marked in blue on our chart, you can be a low-income city and still perform well on social progress. We also found that many of the cities with the largest populations in the US, including New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, tend to have higher median household income, but a low social progress score. Salt Lake City, where Sorensen is headquartered, actually performs as a high social progress city, as you can see from the chart. Race and racial justice is obviously an issue that's come to the top of the political agenda here in America during the pandemic, and rightly so. So we decided to look at the performance of cities in America with a majority African American or Black population. That's more than 50% of the population being Black or African American. Such cities make up 4.6% of the 500 largest cities in America. 87% of them have a low household income, and they're among the poorest cities in the United States. We found that 96% of majority Black cities in America, out of the 500 largest cities, have a low social progress score. While this may suggest that poverty and income are the main barriers to social progress, a look at majority white low-income cities in America found that 34% of these are actually high performers in terms of social progress. This indicates to us that income is not necessarily a barrier to social progress, but the data shows that race may be. And we're going to be doing a lot more research in this area to find out what's really going on. In the US, aside from this new product, we've already been partnering with many cities and other organizations to roll out county and city level indexes, including in Jackson, Mississippi, Miami-Dade County, San Jose, and Orange County, and many more. As we expand our work across the US, we're looking for all different types of partners. So please do reach out. We have an opportunity now to measure what matters most and to make the sort of systems change which will allow us to meet the challenges which face us, from climate change to building back after COVID-19. We hope you'll join us to build back better by focusing on measuring the right things and using those measures to take the sort of decisions that will get the resources invested in the areas that can make lives better for everybody in America. Thank you.